One of the most crucial factors in an ongoing film series is continuity, whether it be in excruciating detail, or at least in a way that is generally familiar to fans. That's not to say different entries in a series shouldn't be different. In fact, one of the best things about the Alien series is that each entry is distinct in its own way and is a different, unique experience. It is hard to deny, though, that Prometheus, taking place close to 30 years before the events of Alien, has raised some questions amongst fans in regards to its continuity involving the technology, ready at the disposal of the respective ships and crews. The Nostromo, while proven to be an expensive vehicle, was fairly modest when you compare it to what the Prometheus had to offer. From cryostasis hypersleep chambers with neurovisual links to alpha readers, to the medpods capable of a myriad of surgeries at a simple click of the button, to the availability of parameter uplink spectrograph devices, or PUPs, there seemed to be no limited supply of advanced technology made available for Project Prometheus. So why was all this incredible technology available in the world of Prometheus, but nowhere to be found in Alien? Perhaps the easiest way to answer that is to step back from the actual lore and simply justify it by saying that, well, the movies themselves are close to 30 years apart, so of course Ridley Scott would take advantage of modern special effects technology in order to best tell his new story within the universe. It's kind of a cop-out answer, but fair enough to an extent. But we do have to keep in mind that modern special effects don't necessarily cancel out the need for continuity. I suppose there's no greater example of this than the Star Wars series. One of the most irking things to many fans is how the prequel series displayed such an array of advanced technology using wall-to-wall special effects that, in the end of it all, didn't quite feel like it matched up with the original movies that they were supposed to lead into. One of the most charming and innovative aspects to the original Star Wars film was how the universe looked lived in. It looked like it had existed for a long time and felt true, in a sense. Meanwhile, the prequel series had environments and vehicles and even characters that felt freshly processed right off of a computer CGI program. For many people, this caused an unconscious, or maybe not so unconscious, unease, and it didn't feel like the same world they had become accustomed to. Then, of course, we can now consider the newest entries, like The Force Awakens, which is a sequel to the original trilogy, and Rogue One, which is a prequel that literally took place moments before the first Star Wars film. The clear difference between those and George Lucas's prequel trilogy is that they felt consistent with the original beloved movies. They had the latest special effects technology at their disposal, they had enormous budgets, unimaginably larger than what would have been available for the production of the first Star Wars film in 1977, but they remained tonally and aesthetically similar to the universe, and it wasn't at the risk of excluding cool special effects either, so it can be done. And to just altogether shrug off and say, well, Prometheus is a newer movie than Alien, so of course it has better effects and more advanced technology than Alien, it doesn't necessarily close the issue. I do believe, however, that when it comes to the story of the Alien series as a whole, a heavy consideration must lie in the sole purpose of each ship's mission, both of which are vastly different, and most certainly would require different technology. Project Prometheus was extremely ambitious, to say the least, its purpose being to find the creators of human life itself. It was a scientific exploration, and it required the most advanced technology in that field available. Not to mention, the founder of the WEYLAND Corporation himself was aboard, acting as a secret member of this mission, so naturally its funding and its resources would be almost limitless. Their purpose was to explore and analyze possible far-off alien life, and they were prepared to do just that. By comparison, the Nostromo was meant to deliver cargo from point A to point B. Their resources were well funded, but not excessively, and not beyond what was required of their towing mission. While coincidental circumstances would require them to sit down on LV-426 to investigate the beacon, that was not the purpose of their mission. So when we see the crew equipped with EVA suits that look as if they've seen better days, we can reasonably assume that they were only made available just in case they were needed. They had not set out to explore new life and new planets, so we can also reasonably assume that there would be no need for any advanced mapping technology. And even if we consider the computer screens and the mother interface itself, it doesn't look top of the line by any means, but if the truckers in space concept that had been the sentiment to Alien from its earliest stages holds any weight, it also makes enough sense that a space tug just simply wouldn't need anything especially elaborate. The US CSS Prometheus made its maiden voyage for Project Prometheus. Everything was new, top of the line, and high priority. The Nostromo, on the other hand, had been around for some time and had likely seen its fair share of other voyages before the events of Alien. And altogether, its mission was somewhat routine. So I feel that in these respects, the jarring differences in technology has some justification. Personally, I've never been too bothered about the technological inconsistencies between the movies, and at the very least, I don't think it's anywhere near as close to the vast and downright distracting differences between, as mentioned, the original Star Wars trilogy and the Star Wars prequel trilogy. Though I know that there are many Alien fans out there who fear Ridley Scott has been turning to the same dark side where George Lucas found himself. But what do you think? Are you distracted by the differences in technology between Prometheus and Alien? Do you feel the differences between the missions themselves is good enough justification? Or do you think they're different for other reasons? Share your thoughts with me below. And as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like, and you can also subscribe for all the latest videos from the channel. A very, very special thanks goes out to WEYLAND YUTANI executive, EmYarUk, part of the Patreon Hive. If you'd like to join the Hive and support the channel, check out my Patreon page for exclusive posts and contests. In the meantime, you can catch up with Alien Theory over social media. Follow at Alien_Theory on Twitter and at AlienTheoryYT on Facebook and Instagram for more. And until next time, this is Alien Theory, signing off.